we'll talk a very latest topic, which is AI agent system, and we'll see how we basically build an multi AI agentic system. But before we start, let's do this small exercise. So, what do you think? What is the first one? You can write in the chat.
Rock,
Right. Then what is the second one?
vision,
Mhm.
43 items we have to estimate.
And
Not 43 for now. With impact, yes, there is impact maybe also. With all up to it is 83.
I know someone has to.
So
Yeah.
maybe
What is the third one?
the borderline.
Someone has to.
How do we make the name to yes, Chandra? Naming will
Yes. Doubts.
could be a test and
So yeah. So what is the third one? What could be the third one?
yes, work,
Yeah. So now there are multiple answers here. So work is one, decode is one. What else? So so how do decoders work? How do decoders decode? What else? Encode, encode. Yeah, could be. How do decoders fail? Right. That could also be the case. What else? How do decoders function?
okay.
Fourth one.
So I think site very important step is for us to keep aside some time, go to the list and put some numbers, understand the change and
Some
for now, like learning.
just someone has to. Yeah. Yeah. So now fourth one. Yeah. How do we learn AI? Replace AI? What else?
Yeah.
Do we use AI? What else?
Learn to AI and adopt AI, adapt AI.
Just Jitendra, are you there, Jitendra? Can you mute your phone?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Hi. How can today we'll embrace AI, right? So what is the fifth one? Dash our attention units. What are attention units? Where are see? So the reason behind doing this exercise was the way you were thinking. ChatGPT also does the same. It might look like that, ChatGPT or LLM can do multiple stuff. It can write code, it can write poetry, and it can do many more things. But at its core, it's only predicting the next word or the missing word. That's it. That's what it is doing. So now, can anyone tell me what are AI agents? So we
Copilot, Gemini, DeepSeek,
So okay, so
and
these are LLMs, these are large language models. So how AI agents are different from AI agents? How large language models are different? Autonomous workflows, right? What do we mean by autonomous workflows?
It was tuned for some particular task.
Mhm. Cool. So let's quickly start revise the basics. Okay. So now the thing is, that we all know that in order to understand, basically computers, they only understand binary, right? So, in order to interact with computers, basically we write code as in what is a code is a set of instructions written in a programming language in like Python, Java, PHP. Now these languages are high level languages. They first get converted into low level languages and ultimately into binary, and then only computer can understand. But nowadays we talk to Alexa and Alexa replies back. Now how does that happen? How computers started understanding our natural language? So, the field of AI that deals with this is known as natural language processing. Now, consider this thing that if you only know English and if I ask you to translate these German words into Hindi, what would be your approach? You will somehow first translate these German words into English so that you understand, and then you translate these English words to Hindi. That would be your approach. Now, what is one thing that computers understand? They only understand one thing. What is it? They only understand binary,
The binary.
right?
Binary.
If you go one level up, they only understand numbers. So if you have to make computer understand this sentence, that this is a great way to learn AI, we first convert or assign a number to a word. So we say this equals to 1 is equals to 2, a equals to 3, and so on. So this is a great way to learn. AI actually becomes this number vector for computer: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once it becomes number vectors, or once we convert them into numbers, then computer can do mathematical operations. It can do matrix multiplication and things like that, and identify a pattern, and then it starts understanding the language. So that's how the basic, like, NLP started. And this process is known as tokenization. So what is tokenization? Basically, we replace English with a language that computer can understand. And why we need it? So that model can perform mathematical operations on the number. So that's how it started. But the point is, language is complex. Language is not that simple. For example, if you see, the word bank has two meanings. One is your financial institution, other is your river bank. The word, the second word, the how you pronounce it, meaning changes. The content means satisfied. Content means like the content that we create or watch on social media. And then the third word, read or read, the meaning changes. The spelling is the same, but, like, we pronounce it differently for present and past tense. So if you see, I am going to bank to deposit money, we sat on the river bank and had a picnic, I am content with my job, I am making content for social media, I read a newspaper every day, but I read a book yesterday. So language is not that simple. So in order to, overcome this complexity, Google came up with this concept called transformers. Do we know what GPT stands for in ChatGPT? What is the full form of GPT in ChatGPT?
Generative pre-trained transformer.
Right. So generative pre-trained transformer. So a transformer which is pre-trained and which can generate. So basically, ChatGPT is also based on transformer architecture. So Google in 2017 came up with this concept, and they released this paper. Attention is all you need. It's a very cult paper, and that actually changed the game. Now, in order to understand attention, let's consider this example, that if I come to you and if I say, I had a productive day today, my task completed before time, what could be your answer? Your answer could be like, good for you, something like that. But now, if I come to you and if I say, I had a productive day today, my task completed before time, I also got a promotion today at work, what would be your answer now?
Congratulating.
Congratulations, let's go for a party, something like that. But the point is, your answer changed. Why did your answer change? The first two lines were the same, but I only added a third line and your answer changed. Why did your answer change?
So the third line seems to be more important for us
Exactly.
as an human.
Exactly. So basically, promotion is a high priority event in comparison to productive day and task completion. So now our mind automatically basically basically pays attention to the high priority event and formulate the answer or the response accordingly. So now basically what we need to, if you see here, how do we know that this is read and not read? I read. How do we know this is read and not read? Hmm.
Past tense, yesterday.
Yeah, but yesterday, so you're right, past tense, yesterday and every day, but yesterday and every day, they are coming in the end. Now we are reading from left to right. I don't know whether every day is in the end, it's every day or yesterday. So how do I know it's read or read?
Newspaper is a everyday thing. So based on that, we can assume that it should be read.
even if we go, so by this logic, newspaper is again at the third, so we are still at I after I need to read. And then you can also say I read newspaper yesterday. So again, newspaper is not that, I can read yesterday's newspaper today as well, or I can read a newspaper yesterday, or I can say I read a book today, or I read a book every day. So you see, the point is, maybe a child reads like one word at a time, but as an adult, we don't do it. We actually pay attention to the whole sentence, and that's how we read it. And that's what Google proposed, that attention is all you need. If models have to understand the language, they have to pay attention to the whole sentence. And this is what they proposed. So, what is self attention? Basically, attention is a way of giving priority to certain words, and they are how do we do that? We extract information from the whole sequence rather than just paying attention to the previous and the next word. So before transformer, model could only able to identify relationship the word with the like the previous and the next word. But after transformer, the models actually started understanding how the word is associated with all other words in the sentence. So now the model understands that how the word teacher is related with the word the, with the word taught, with student, with the word with, all these things. So that's how basically the NLP has evolved. Now, how NLP has progressed? So the first use case that we saw was sentiment analysis. Do we know what sentiment analysis is? Yes, ChatGPT or Transformer is basically the NLP is the science, like the field of AI where we talk all of those things. Happiness index kind of. So basically, we give text to the model, and model identifies whether it's of positive emotion or of negative emotion, basically positive sentiment or negative sentiment. So what is the use case? What is the real use case?
1 or 0 giving.
Yeah, but what is the use case? Like how businesses can use this sentiment analysis?
For analyzing customer reviews.
Exactly. So if Amazon wants to understand whether, right, whether the review is positive or negative, right? Or political parties, they want to understand what kind of stuff people are writing about them on social media. Brands want to understand what kind of stuff people are tweeting on Twitter. So basically that was the use case. And then we have this thing called autocorrect. Okay, so what is the first thing we learned when we learned English? As a child, what did you learn the first thing when you learned English?
Grammar.
Alphabets.
Alphabets. So first thing you learned alphabets. After alphabets, what did you learn?
Words.
Words. So computers or basically models started their learning journey with words. So then came the first the use case of autocorrect that we use on our WhatsApp, right? And then afterwards, what did we learn?
Forming sentences.
Sentences, right? So models then started they learned sentences, and then came the use case of autocomplete that we use on Gmail, in Google Doc, on other places where when we start typing and it completes the sentence. And then because models understood all the languages together, so they could also do language translation, and then voice came, and then all the use case of text to voice, voice to text, voice search, and then your automated the subtitle generation, all these things happened. Now the point is that we have been knowingly or unknowingly using AI in our daily lives since 2017. All these things are not new. But when ChatGPT came, everyone started talking about AI. Everyone started talking about that AI is the future and all those things. What happened with LLM? What happened with ChatGPT? Why it created so much hype, or why ChatGPT became so successful? It's AI is not something new. You saw, right? We have been using autocorrect, all these things. So what happened? Why ChatGPT was so successful?
Instant answers. Whatever you are asking, you're getting instantly.
Instant answer we actually used to get earlier as well. We might
Human like conversation.
exactly human like conversation. That's the point. So what happened was, so then came large language models. So basically, ChatGPT is a large language model. It's like the product name or the brand name. The ChatGPT is the brand name, but the actual product is large language models. There are multiple large language models currently. There are large language models from Meta. What is the name of large language model from Meta?
Llama.
Llama 2, Llama 3. And then what is the large language model from Google? Gemini. So all these. So basically, we have so there are multiple large language models. So what is a large language model? First, large language models are nothing but transformers trained on huge data. Now, when we say huge data, how much huge? Do you know how much data ChatGPT was trained on?
Petabytes.
How much? What is the exact number? Any idea? 10 million. 10 million is too less. So it's
7
yeah.
billion.
So it's 300 billion tokens, which is roughly equal to 225 billion words. So then we say huge data. So transformers were trained on such huge data, and that's why. So with transformers, model understood language. You can consider it as a child, like 8-10 years old child who understands language but doesn't have world knowledge. Now, when LLMs were trained on huge data, they acquired world knowledge. So now they know about poetry, they know about physics, they know about philosophy, they also know about programming. So they acquired world knowledge. But the second thing that happened was reinforcement learning from human feedback, because as someone said, because now we have human like conversation. What do we mean by human like conversation? So let's say if I say my house is too hot, now there could be three replies that LLM can generate. First is there is nothing you can do about hot houses. Now my criteria was helpfulness. I wanted model to help me, but model is not helping me here. Second answer which LLM can generate is you can cool your house with air conditioning. Now here model is trying to help me. And the third answer it could generate is it is not too hot. So here LLM is not acknowledging my problem itself. Now, if you consider English, if you consider sentence formation, if you consider grammar, if you consider vocabulary, or if you consider relevancy, all these three sentences are correct, right? But the question is, are all these three sentences acceptable to you as an answer?
No.
So which one would you accept out of these three?
Second one.
Second one, right? So same. So what happened was thousands of people actually gave their feedback. So for example, I gave that the first choice to the second answer, second choice to the first answer, and then I said the third is not at all acceptable to me, so I gave it a third choice. Similarly, thousands of such people actually gave their preference. They gave their feedback, and then this feedback was again fed to the model, and then model started understanding the human preference. And so next time if we ask this question that my house is too hot, can you help me, it will try to generate answer which is closer to the second one. So that's how it worked, and that's how basically with chat gpt model they actually started aligning with the human like preferences. So now if you consider training data for GPT-3, which was the original model, if you see it was trained on 300 billion tokens, and it has some like 175 billion parameters. It took some 1000 to 10,000 V100 GPUs to train this model. It took around 1 month of training, and it costed them around $10 million. If you consider Llama, it was trained on 1 to 1.4 trillion tokens. 2,800 GPUs were used. It took 21 days of training, and it costed them around $5 million. So that was the thing. If you talk in terms of data, like the majority of the data came from the internet, then GitHub, Wikipedia, books, archives, Stack Exchange. And if you see on the right hand side, the total amount of data that was used was around 5 TB. Now, can you imagine 5 TB of text data? So 5 TB of text data was fed to train models like llama. Okay. Now we come to the our main topic, which is AI agent. So we understood transformers when we trained transformers on huge data. We also did RLHF, so they aligned with human preference. But then what is AI agent now? Why we are talking about AI agents? So now let's consider this example where what are the shortcomings of ChatGPT. So let's say now, so ChatGPT can draft a response to your email, right? So if you've got an email and I want to draft a reply. For example, let's say I get an email from Abdul and I want to basically draft a reply. So can ChatGPT help me in doing this or not?
Yes.
Right? But how it will help me, I have to basically copy that content, paste it on chat gpt, then I have to say draft a reply, please draft a reply in professional and polite tone, it will generate a reply, and then I have to copy paste to in the gmail, and then I have to send it. Now consider this scenario that I give access of my gmail to llm. I say this is my this thing, and then I say I've gotten email from Abdul, please check, draft a reply in a professional and polite tone. So what it will do, it will go to my Gmail, it will search with the name Abdul, it will check the latest email, it will read, it will draft a reply, it will save it in my draft folder, and it will come back. I only have to go and check whether it's right or wrong. Or basically, if I want to send it, I just have to click on send. Now this is what AI. So AI agent is LLMs. They provide you answers. They help you with content. AI agents get things done for you. Let me give you another example. So let's say you are planning a trip to Dubai, and you are planning a trip for like 10 days. Now can ChatGPT help you in planning the itinerary?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But the question is itinerary enough for you to plan the Dubai trip? What if you first want to understand how's the weather like? If weather is pleasant, then only you want to basically plan this trip. That's one. Second, you want to understand what are your hotel options within your budget. And third, you let's say you are a vegetarian and you prefer certain kind of food. You want to know what are your food options around around that hotel. Now, multi AI agent system can do this. How can the system can perform this operation? First, you'll give access to weather app, so it will check a weather app on the given dates whether it is suitable to plan a trip or not. If the weather is good, then it will pass this information. Then other agent will check make my trip. It will search based on your budget, like, you know, identify 4 5 options within your budget, and then it will pass on to the other agent will then will access Google Maps, and based on your food preference it will give you the result, and then it will actually create the entire itinerary. Now this is a work of a proper travel agent. It is just not giving you the information. And if you give access to all these things, AI agent can actually book all these things for you as well. It can actually go ahead and book the tickets and all these. So this is the job of a this is what multi AI agent systems do. Okay. So now what are AI agents? AI agents are LLMs with reasoning. So they reason through. When you give a task, they reason, they and they basically think through, and they decide which tool to use. And what is a tool? Tool is an external application. So weather app is an external application. Make my trip is an external application. Your Google map is an external application. So now in order to check the weather, model will decide, okay, I need to use weather app. And to book a hotel, I need to use make my tip. So this is what the reasoning is. Then we provide access to external application, and third is self-reflection capability. So now when you ask ChatGPT, you get the answer instantly. Model is not thinking twice, because they are basically optimized for speed. They want to, like, they are optimized for speed. They give you answer instantly. But with AI agents, once they get the answer, basically they self reflect that whether this answer is correct or not. If they think the answer is not correct, they'll again go into the loop. They'll do all the steps again, and once they confirm that, okay, now this answer is correct, now I can show it to the user, they'll show it. So this is how AI agents work. So if you see, this is the thing. So a user comes, gives a request, and then model basically plans, and based on that it will come up with a task list, and then it starts creating a single task. If it needs loop to solve the task, it will do it, and after that it will update the state and basically give all the information. And if the model thinks that no, this is not the correct answer, it will replan, and this process will go on. And once the model thinks, or basically the AI agent thinks now it has got the answer, it will respond to the user. So this is what AI agents are, and that's why people are saying that AI agents are the new software, basically because now we'll have autonomous workflow as well as intelligent workflow. So how do we build these things? As I said, so first we need to define the task, we provide the tools, and then we also need to specify a memory. So these are the things we need in order to build an agentic system. So what are the tasks? Tasks are the job that model needs to perform. So if I'm saying you are a weather, you need to check weather app, that would be the task. And then agents tool. So agent is basically, tool is any external application. It could be Google search, it could be database lookup, anything. So the using that tool, it will access any external environment, because currently chat gpt and all other llms, they work in isolation. If you ask a question, they basically, if they have the answer, they provide it to you, else they'll not be able to answer. Perplexity, they use search. So now if you ask anything to Perplexity AI, they'll find and then they'll provide the answer. So basically they are also doing an agentic system, but in that case they're only using search. They're not using any other thing. So now, but tools can be anything. It could be Google search, it could be database lookup, it could be Python interpreter. Let's say if you are planning something, it will basically interpret and it will give you the result. If you want to do complex maths problem, you can give access to LLM maths. It could be any website. It could be you know, any website on the thing. For example, it could be WebMD. If you want to ask anything related to medical, you just ask and it will provide you the answer. You don't have to go and search. Okay. So, what is multi-agent system? Basically, when multiple agents interact and then they collectively make decisions. We can have multiple kinds of multi-agent system. We could have like sequential AI system where one AI agent pass it to the other, and then we can have hierarchical multi-AI agent system as well, where one acts like a boss and other two works like the colleague. We can have an asynchronous multi-AI agent system as well, where basically, others are also working and then we are collating. So these all kinds of multi-AI agent system are possible currently. So how do you create it? Basically, you have to define the agent first. For example, I am creating a customer support executive where we have this senior support representative, where if someone comes, this guy has to create the answer. And then we have this quality assurance agent who will basically check the answers created by the previous one. So we need to define these agents. Then we are giving multiple tools, like we are going serve depth tool, scrap website tool, website search tool, any tool you can give. Based on the question, it will decide which tool to use, get the answer, and then generate it. So this is the task that for the first one, that this customer just reached out with a super important ask, is the one that reached out. Make sure to use everything you know to provide the best support possible. And you must strive to provide a complete and accurate support. We are passing the tools, and then we are also saying this is the agent name. So now we have created this first agent. Second, again, we are saying review the response drafted by the senior support executive for query, ensure that the answer is comprehensive, accurate, and adhere to the high quality. This thing, check for references and sources. So basically, second agent has to validate And here we are saying that this is the expected output, and now we are also specifying the agent that this is the task which is assigned to this particular agent. So we define the agent, we assign the task, we assign the tools, and then we basically combine everything. So now we have these two agents, these two tasks, and then we are also enabling the memory. So now if someone comes that I need help with the courses offered by this much, what are the concepts covered in the course? Basically, it will go to the website, it will fetch the details, and it can show you. If you'll have time, I'll show you how the demo this demo would work. So this is how the AI has evolved from so we all know generative AI, LLMs and all, to we have got here to agentic AI, and now we are moving towards physical AI, where we'll have humanoids, where we can interact with them. So this is how the journey is. It started with perception AI, like speech recognition, those kind of things. Yeah. So this is me. Just so what I do basically, I teach AI and generative AI to senior IT professionals. This is what I do. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'll be happy to do that.